What is going on, everybody? I'm back with another video. This video has probably been requested by like so many people. Like I can't even count how many people, because I get it in the YouTube comments, the commentary section, my DMs, emails. So today I'm gonna show you guys how to mix. I figure, you know what, why not give you guys a real good in-depth breakdown and something that's really just gonna help benefit you and make yourself sound a lot better. Disclaimer: I am not an engineer. I know my role, and I know my ear isn't as developed as like some world-class engineers, so I'm not gonna say like this is the end-all be-all, but these are a good foundation, and if you know anything about a strong building, it's all built on a good foundation. So today I'm gonna show you guys some things, and as well as give you guys some gems, but you already know that because you already know who I am. You know what I'm saying? It's no surprise. So let's jump into it. Before I even show the screen, before I even start mixing, let's just jump into what this beat sounds like first. So obviously, as you could tell, that's not mixed. That's what we're gonna be fixing though. So before I even get into touching knobs and stuff like that, because I feel like that's what people want to see, I have to give you guys the foundational things before that. First off, what mixing is making sure everything works together cohesively and it sounds good. What mixing is not is getting a ton of plugins because you saw Alex Toomey or you saw Wheezy use it and then just throwing it on there just because you think it's gonna make everything sound good. It's not. It's cat. Foundation over the new shiny thing. So a little words of encouragement before I give you guys the harsh stuff. It's a journey. Don't worry about trying to make the magnum opus or trying to make the best mix ever. It's all a progress. Even when you make it to a certain level, you're a beginner there. So you got to make it to another level, and guess what? When you hit that another level, you're a beginner there too. So it's all steps. You never stop learning. So to illustrate that, this is what the first beat I ever sold sounded like.
Purchase your beats today.
That shit was trash. Just know that you progress forward every day, and as long as you're developing your ear, you'll get better eventually. You're not competing against anybody. You're really competing against your old self. And that's what anything in life too, whether it be you just quit a job or you just got fired from a job, whatever, just take that opportunity and always progress forward. Another thing, there is no one way to mix. There's no one set way. Even me, like, I'm pretty sure some people are gonna be like, oh, this shit is terrible, or you're giving wrong information. Just know there's no one set way to mix. But here's some golden rules. Don't clip within the plugin. You see this on the right side, how it's turning red? You don't want that. No matter what, you don't want to really clip within plugins, because clipping within plugins is really bad, because then there's really no way to fix it. There's tasteful distortion, and then you're just going overboard, because if you're clipping in this one, then that means you're clipping in this one, and then you're clipping in this one, and then you're clipping in this one. Once you print that audio, you're gonna have nothing but clipping, and nothing's gonna be able to save that. So just keep that in mind. So sound selection is the most important thing. The thing about sound selection is you don't want to go overboard and you don't want to do too much. Case in point, let me pull an EQ up. Okay, so this is the 808. You see it only occupies a certain range of frequency. When it comes to sound selection, you really want to find things that occupy certain frequencies and then try to like isolate it in a sense. I'm not going to do that for the 808 because the 808, it has harmonics, and sometimes you do need that top end. But in most sounds like a clap or a hi-hat, you don't need low end in it. As well as melodies, sometimes you don't need low end in melodies. So this is what good sound selection sounds like. And this is what bad sound selection sounds like. Okay, so now that you know that, and now that you've downloaded the free drum kit that I've given, or if you want to buy the blueprint drum kit, which is way better, go crazy, it's down in the description, and you have no excuse for terrible sound selection, we can start with leveling. Okay, so a great guy once told me you gotta level to the metronome. That great guy was named Johnny Giuliano. That tip always stuck with me, so that's exactly what we're gonna do. I'm gonna turn the metronome on, and then I'm gonna level the sounds, and if it's overpowering the metronome, I gotta turn it down. Okay, so let's hear what it sounds like without the metronome. If you ever want to check your melody or check to see if your leveling is good, go to the master, turn this to mono, and bring this all the way down. It sounds good to me. If the sounds are overpowering or there's one sound that's like overly loud, then that's when you can kind of turn it down. Actually, let me just show you. Notice how that sound is like sticking out like a sore thumb. All you gotta do is just turn it down. Your drums gotta knock. No doubt about it. There's two ways that me personally I like to mix, because sometimes I like to have everything slamming and then use a soft clipper and then job done. But I'm just showing you the fundamental way. Alright, so the next thing is EQ. You can't have all the sounds occupy every frequency. They all shine in one particular one, and then they have some excess at the end of it. So this melody, I'm gonna throw an EQ on it. Actually, let me throw this RC20 on here. Now the reason why I like the Pro Q2 is because you got this like zero latency and natural phase. I watched like a Kenny Beats video, or I think he was on live and he explained this one time, and it just always stuck with me. I don't use this all the time, but it definitely come in handy. I like this little like headphone knob because it can kind of tell you like you're going from low end to like the mids now, because you start hearing it. Like, another thing that I like about this EQ is the auto gain. Usually when you EQ, it kind of boosts the sounds, or it boosts the frequencies and stuff, and it makes it a lot louder. Auto gain just basically keeps it at that level that it was originally, and you know, you won't have to continue to like level it and stuff. I wish FL had that feature in parametric EQ. You see, you want to clean up all this low end. Like, you don't need this. And when you add this sound with that low end, and then the rim sound, and then the clap, and then the melody, all those lows together, they kind of compound up, and then they work against your bass. So it's not smart to keep that in there. The only thing that I don't take the lows out of is the 808 and the kick. Now normally this is 85% here. Like, as soon as you pick the right sounds, as soon as you level everything, as soon as you cut off the unnecessary frequencies, you can just put a limiter and boost everything up and you're good. Majority of the time when you see Genius videos, it's initially like that. But one thing you do have to understand is you're not gonna be the end mixer. Once an artist gets your beat and say they're signed to a major label, they're gonna get their own engineer to make that shit sound good, because we pay this guy to make shit sound good. Don't think you gotta like do too much or add all these unnecessary plugins and stuff. Which actually brings me to the next thing, and that is effects. It depends on the goal and the sounds. Everything is context based, but effects add character. You can add any effect really, reverb, flanger, EQ, whatever. But let's do that and let's fill this out a little bit more. So you already know I got RC20. I got this VST called Baby Come Back. It's actually free. I'll try to see if I can find it again and put it in the description. That just gives it a lot more like fullness to it. When you add delays to you know, simple melody, it adds a lot of fullness. And then I took a bit of the wet out and then added this analog, and it gave the delay like a texture kind of feel. And then next thing to add some movement was I added this Nicky Romero sidechain. I actually gave you guys this gem on IG this week, so definitely use that. I like to take it and put it on melodies to give it a lot more forward motion. So instead of having something like this, I like the movement, but I'm just bringing it down to like 25%. That way it has that kind of like movement. And another thing to give it extra movement, I added gross beat, and then I kind of like adjusted these parameters over here, the volume section, and then added a little, you know, just a little something. And that's what it sounds like over here. You actually hear that in a lot of like Drake songs. That's like another thing to create motion. So even if you don't have kickstart, you can use gross beat and do the same thing. So the next thing I'm gonna do to add effects to it is add a texture. Now I'm gonna right click over here and then middle click that. This is how much of the sound that I want to go into this mixer. This is a bus. I'll talk about that later, but it saves you a lot of CPU, all that type of shit. Well, I cut off the low end, and then I added this free VST called Supermassive. It's actually really dope because it adds like texture, and it's like a really like interesting kind of thing. It gives it like a bit of like movement, and one of the things that I love is textures. Like you can find textures in old records, you could find textures in nature. So you can take your phone, go to voice memos, and then just hit record. That's a super great way to like bring a different type of texture and your sound to shit. If I'm hearing birds and all that type of shit, I'll record that. You know, it's simple. Break time. I got some nachos. Oh God, this shit's so fire. Okay, we're almost done. I just had to take a little break. Actually, speaking of that, you should take breaks in between mixing because sometimes you start overthinking shit. So the next sound is this flute from my one-shot pack, the Game Shark pack, of course. I also got a little tremulator on here, and then this chorus. This is free, by the way. What else do I gotta do? Reverb. Good reverbs you can use are everything you already have right now. One of the ones that I like to use personally is called a convolution reverb. Now you could use many reverbs, you can use different ones, but one of the things that I like to use is I like to use real natural reverbs that people went in like caves and churches and shit like that to go record them. That's initially what convolution reverbs are. They're natural, authentic sounding. If you use the fruity reverb, that's a digital one. That's fine too, but I like something that's a lot more realistic because it has its little defaults and effects. One of the things that I like to use is use one of my reverb textures from my pack. Obviously the Game Shark pack. I'ma always plug my shit, yo. Hey, it is what it is. Yeah, I like really using these because they give me like a different kind of sound. Okay, so we're almost done. I don't like using reverbs on like claps and shit like that and hi-hats. I like having them bare, or if I do, I really like to go by this golden rule, right? And some guy, it was in a random studio session, but this guy told me this like 2 years ago, and it always stuck with me. He said the higher the tempo, the more you could just kind of like do whatever and it's not noticeable. But the lower tempo you go, then that's when every little detail matters and sounds stick out like a sore thumb. But one of the things that I like to do is I like to tighten up the sounds just so it gives more space. Sometimes a kick like this, it's not all that necessary, so I could just kind of tweak it just a little bit, just to make it a little tighter. Let's tweak some of these other sounds. Sometimes I just like to tighten up like the claps and snares just a little bit. Now, next thing is saturation and distortion. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. Just know that when you add saturation, it basically makes something a lot warmer. It makes it a lot brighter. It actually feels good. A lot of the reason why people love analog gear is because there's a certain saturation that you can't duplicate with digital plugins. You know, one of the advantages of having digital plugins is, you know, you can kind of manipulate a lot. There's pros and cons to everything, honestly. Distortion. I love distortion on 808s. If you don't know, you have to put distortion, or you don't have to, but distortion on 808s can make any 808 pop through an iPhone. And the way people are listening to music on streaming services, they're on the go, they're listening to it in headphones, iPhones, and MacBooks, all that type of stuff. So you need something to punch through. Everybody loves the Spins 808 because it has a certain harmonic edge to it. But when I add distortion to it, it stands out a lot more. I try not to add a lot of distortion. I try to play with the mix knob because sometimes that'll take away the low end punch to it. And unless you're doing like some you know, triple X type of shit, you don't really need to do all that. Well, it's all, like I said, it's all context based. This is not, you know, a strict thing. These are just guidelines. You could always break the rules. You always should break the rules. One thing I forgot to mention about the textures is you never really want them to be like super loud. You really want them to be in the background. Now, there's a lot more stuff that I could add to it, but I think this is a good starting point for you guys. One thing that I am going to mention to you is the last thing, and that is mastering. So when it comes to mastering, you're not really going to get a true master because there's no vocals on it, and it's not just a one plugin thing. There's like, it's like a whole umbrella of shit that, you know, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm trying to make this video short. I don't know if I'm gonna make this video as short as I want it to be because I want to cover everything. But just know that it's a whole different thing. So when it comes to like mastering, really, you're just gonna make the beat loud enough so that way it hits, and then, you know, once the artist, like, depending on the artist, like if they want to buy the beat and they want to have their own engineer mix it, you know, that's what they paid for. They want to make the best product available. You don't have to do too much. A lot of people, you know, they do different things. Some people, you know, use a soft clipper. I'm one of them. So soft clipping is good. That's one. I know a lot of people use like limiters and stuff because they see, like, you know, a ton of people take the attack down, sustain down, release down, and then they boost up the gain. One thing that I've been doing lately that I can show you and you can use is this thing called G-Clip. It's a free plugin. It's basically like a soft clipper, but I get to adjust the thing here. I actually use a T-Rex limiter, but I'm trying to like make everything so it's like, you know, like budget friendly, so that way you have like no excuses and shit, and you don't have to like try to like look for the plugins and then ruin your computer trying to crack them and stuff. Like, it's not that serious. You could use what you have. I'll go to the master, and then I will go to like the loudest part of my beat. Just press play and adjust this. And then if I want this to be super harsh, I'll leave it alone. If I want it to be super soft, you know, I'll turn it up. This is soft clipping. This is hard clipping, hard limiting, whatever you want to call it. That simple, that easy. Reason why I like to have it cut at 6 is because that gives me a representation of what it's gonna sound like. See what, here, let me do this. Let me explain this. So I'm gonna boost this up 6 dB, right? I apologize if you hear a little bit of like clipping and stuff like that within the actual video. It's because it's OBS, it's just tripping. And back to why I leave it at 6 dB, or I go to 6 dB and clip it, and then I'll boost it up. Reason being is because artists, when they record to like 2 tracks and stuff, they bring the volume down like 6 dB. So this gives me a representation of what it's gonna sound like. So let's hear it. And if I want more clipping on the kick, because that's essentially the only thing that's getting the peaks that are getting chopped off, it's just the kick. If I want clipping on the kick, I'll just turn it up. I'm driving the kick into the master clipper, so that way it sounds a lot harder. And you can do that at the end. Like, you can get a pretty balanced mix, and then at the end you'd be like, all right, you know what, I want that kick to hit a little bit harder. I want that clap to, you know, just a little bit more. So, you know, you can just turn it up a little bit more. One thing you can use is a VST called You Learn LUFS. What that does is it tells you the LUFS of different streaming services, so that way you know how far you can take it before the streaming service destroys your mix and compresses it. You gotta think about it like this. These streaming services and YouTube have tons of uploads, and they have to have it at a certain volume, or else like it'll be too much for the human ear. And they want to keep listeners on the platform. So if they have one song that's super quiet, but then they have another song that's fucking loud, that defeats the whole purpose of mixing. That defeats the whole purpose of, you know, having an enjoyable listening experience. I hope that doesn't go over your head. I'll pop up the VST right here. I'll link it in the description so that way you use it. But I do use it. Mike Dean recommends it, so that's why I use it. By no way is this like the end of it. I mean, I could walk away from this and I'm cool with this. Like, I'm fine with this shit. This shit kind of hard. However, if I want, you know, if I look back at it like, all right, I could turn this melody down, or I can, you know, EQ over here. That's fine. That all comes from reference. That's when you throw it in your iPhone. You throw it in, you know, your headphones. You go take a drive, and you know, if it's a good mix, it'll sound good. If it's a bad mix, it'll sound bad. You know, it's no problem. You're developing your ear, you're developing your mixing skills, and you're building up. One thing I do want to tell you guys too, if you're not, and by no means is this like a sponsorship, I just fuck with the fact that this is a super dope platform, and I think Mixed by Ali is a genius and very generous for giving this opportunity to producers and engineers. It's this thing called Engineer Ears, but it's a new platform that's it's still developing. But basically, they have world-class engineers on there, and they can mix your 2-track or they can mix all your stems. And think about it, right? You got Grammy Award winners like Mixed by Ali, Cruz who mixes for Meek Mill, L10 who mixes for Smino and Chance, and so many other amazing people, right? $1,500 for a mix from Ali is hella cheap. And if you're like with an artist and you believe in them and you believe like, yo, I gotta take that next step, we can invest in this shit together, blow up, and he doesn't even have to pay me for the beat because we're going 50-50 on the master. It's a win-win. Some people get charged like thousands and thousands and thousands for a mix by Ali, for a mix by L10, for a mix by Cruz, for, you know, all these other world-class engineers. I even seen one for like $350 and she was like super cold. Her mixes are sick and they give you the stems. Like, that's hella beneficial. I'm just giving you guys the resources. You don't gotta take it. You don't gotta take my advice. You could think this mix is fucking terrible, whatever. But just know that these are techniques and stuff that build the foundation. I could have gone more in depth with this video, but I don't want to make it super long, so I think I'm gonna cut it short. I'm gonna play the mix at the end. Always use your ears. No matter what you use, you'll always be solid. So for that, I thank you. I fuck with you. I apologize if I took a long time with the mixing videos. I just wanted to make it perfect for you guys. I fuck with y'all. If you ever want to support, cop kits down below. Oh, make sure you share this and you comment down below and you subscribe if you're new, cause man, what does shit YouTubers say? About 50% watch, but they haven't subscribed. What are you doing? You know, it just helps. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to stop doing IG. I'm just trying to do YouTube full time, cause, well, not full time, but I'm just trying to do more YouTube videos. But I only got so much time. You know what I mean? I just want to know you guys appreciate the videos. Anyways, I'm gonna go get fucked up. I will talk to you guys later.